a matter of whether or not we can. Everybody can, but not everybody will. How to turn nothing into something. How tangible are ideas and imagination? Ideas that become so powerful in your mind and your consciousness, they seem real to you even before they become tangible. Imagination that is so strong that you can actually see it. You can actually see it. If somebody cannot see it when it is not here, then it will never be here. Start looking into the future of what you would like to accomplish, where you would like to go, the person you would like to be. Decide what you want, and then act as if you already had it. And that is to believe that what you imagine is possible for you. So the first step is to imagine what's possible. Second step, to believe. Now here's the third step, and that is to go to work and make it real. You now go to work and make it a movement. You make it tangible. You make it viable. You breathe life into it, and then you construct it.
You have a lot to offer. The fact that you're still here means that your business is not through yet. People don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves.
So write and draw and build and play and dance and live as only you can. Make up your own rules. The rules on what is possible and impossible were made by people who had not tested the bounds of the possible by going beyond them.
You must change what's possible for you. You, and only you, are the subject that impacts the burning desire in your imagination. You are living and feeling as if your future dreams are a present fact.
Will it be easy? No. Will it be challenging? Yes.
So you got to prepare yourself. You've got to develop yourself. Long as you're breathing, you got some more work to do. There's something else for you to achieve. Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes.
So now go and make interesting mistakes, make amazing mistakes, make glorious and fantastic mistakes. Break rules, leave the world more interesting for your being here. Make good art.
It is possible to start with nothing and become something.
Cherish this voice every time it's spoken. Get up. You can't get at home what you can get in here. Get up. Lift your hands high. I'm through. There is a $8 million debt that's getting ready to be canceled in 16 months. 16 months. 8.5 million will be will be canceled in 16 months. I release the blessings of God.
And our outstanding debt on the cathedral and on our property was about $8 million. On this past week, we paid the $8 million the debt. We are debt free. So now we burn the mortgage. Our responsibilities are almost $100,000 a month. And
I'll take that up with. Yeah. God bless everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight. This is a special edition of Straight Talk. I have one of the most brilliant minds in Christendom from Wakanda, all the way from Baltimore by Atlanta, Georgia, Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant, and he's going to come with us and talk about the necessities of Black fathers. And I'm so excited about the book that we sent to him, and I even pinned a little bit about him and his wonderful, prolific father, Bishop Bryant. I wanted to tell him that Bishop Jamal, Dr. Jamal is a wonderful man of God, but what would he have been without Bishop Bryant? I talk about many of these influential fathers, Joel Osteen's father. We see a lot of father. My grandfather, who was a noted Kojic bishop. I appreciate my grandfather. Rest in peace, Bishop Fred Cunningham. A lot of us, we would not be where we were today if it had not been for the influence of a father. I did some things in the street. I had a tenure in the street, but I also was one of Michigan's top basketball players in high school and college. But it was the influence of my father that led me and directed me with a lot of my friends, some of my friends doing life in prison. Some of them are dead. Some of us got shot up and lost their life because they didn't have that influence of a father. I was at a millennial conference today, and you'd be surprised how many preachers are preaching that's fatherless. You have to be surprised how many people that's in society today that's just fatherless. And it was amazing to me as I was penning this book, The Influence of a Father. You can get it at www.AmereMay.org. You need to get this book. It was amazing to me that 73% of our Black children are being born into unwed homes without fathers. And a lot of this is dealing with social engineering. If you understand, you study sociology and the social fears, that we have been socially engineered and the father has been removed from the home. And it's imperative that we have conversations like we have tonight. So I'm so honored and privileged. Shout out to my children, my 4 children, especially to my sons who I take pride in, and my daughters. My son, Dr. Bryan was very influential in him choosing the college. Monty wanted to go to Morehouse, but A&T was, offering that money, and Monty ended up being Mr. A&T. And so North Carolina State A&T and Amir Jr. graduated from DSU. Of course, I went to Shaw, so we HBCU all the way. He was 6th in the nation, leading scoring, went on to play pro ball. He graduated, matriculated. And so I'm excited about my family and my wife. She was graduated from Western Michigan. But nevertheless, we're here tonight, and I want to bring this man of God, all consistent, a friend, it's a brother, and whom we highly respect. I believe he's a prolific. He's our Dr. King of the day. And he, he's doing some amazing things. He's taken new birth to an ecstasy that cannot be measured. And tonight we're excited. We're getting ready to bring him home, Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. We appreciate him dearly. God bless you, Dr. Bryant.
Bless you, my Lord Bishop. Congratulations to you. I've not seen you since your elevation over the Middle East in Dubai, yes. Emirates.
Yes.
So I'm saluting you and just excited how God is really giving you a global footprint. I think that the assignment meets the measure of who it is that you are. And so I just want you to know from Atlanta that I'm cheering for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Bryant, you're on the ground. You're doing so much. You not only preach about it, you live it, and you talk. You do so much for the community, regardless if we appreciate it or not. I mean, you have done some remarkable things that I don't ever think you would be rewarded for in this lifetime, but your name will go on to be in the archives of great historians that have led our community. What are we going to do about the absentees of our fathers?
Yeah.
What can we do?
I want to say that I'm really not blessed. I'm spoiled.
Right. Wow.
I'm spoiled because I have a very active, visual and viable example of manhood in my own dad, Bishop Bryant. I was graced of God to know both of my grandfathers, Bishop Harrison James Bryant and Booker T. Williams. And something can be said that you said in the intro that is so important. I don't know where I would be. I am exhibit A of what grace looks like. Having failed the 11th grade, had a child out of wedlock, go through a divorce. And Amir, I did that with a father present.
Wow.
With an active man in my life who modeled the quintessential Christianity and the effervescence of manhood. We never had a strange woman knock on our door.
Wow.
Didn't have inordinate phone calls. There were no letters slipped under the desk. So he showed for me ethics. I tell everybody, everything I have done well in life, I learned from my dad. Everything I did wrong, I learned on my own.
Wow.
So the presence of a model of an exemplar really has an impact because it shows me what to work towards. What is that goal? What is that aim? I was talking this afternoon, Amir, to about 1,000 entrepreneurs. And I said to them something very striking. I said, have you ever considered in the omniscience of God, when he thought about sending his only son to the earth, that he didn't let his son come into the household of a governor,
Wow.
of a lawyer, of a millionaire? Amir, you're gonna love this. He chose for his only son to be born of a father who had no college degree and who was an entrepreneur of minimal acclaim.
Wow.
I would bring you to Atlanta, or I go to Charlotte tonight and get on a plane and take you to the Holy Land. We could travel through the Holy Land in Amir. It's amazing. No matter what tour guide we find, they won't be able to show us one table that Joseph built, not one chair that he built, because he needed, in order for Jesus to operate in compassion, to see a father who was flawed. He needed him to see a father who did not excel, but he could still do well. And I think that responsibility is what it is that we've got to give out to the Black community. That if your dad ain't Michael Jordan,
Right. Right.
you know what I mean? He wasn't able to put you through private school. You wasn't on a private plane. You weren't wearing red bottom shoes. But you were able to gauge, here it is. My mother taught me something early in life. Sometimes you're under a bad boss so you can learn what not to do when you get in charge. The story is told. Story is told of twin brothers who, Amir, were the sons of an alcoholic. One of them became an alcoholic, and the other one remained sober his whole life. They were asked by the journalists, both of these twin boys, why did you become an alcoholic? And the other one, why did you remain sober? And you'll never believe the answer, Amir. The answer, Amir, was, here it is, because I watched my father.
Wow.
And watching, one of them emulated his brokenness, echoed his flawed.
Right.
The other one said, because of his brokenness and because of his flaws, this is not what I'm going to model, and this is not what I'm going to exemplify.
Wow. This is so powerful, and it has poured over into the church, because I was talking about today how so many of our generation don't have a father. They have a fatherless voice in the church. And so when a father speaks, they sometimes deem it as negative, rude, brute. And it's really not a rude, brute at all. It's just a father speaking. And I was thinking, and you said something such that was prolific and profound, that you had a divorce, you had this and that. That was with a father. I grew up with a father. I grew up with a stepfather. Grew up, my grandfather was a bishop, and my great-grandfather was a mason, lived right across the street, 33 grade. And I still end up in trouble. And I still did crazy stuff. I still went against the family rules and sold drugs and went to prison. And so I was thinking, if I did this all with a father, what chance did our brothers and sisters have that had no clue who even what their father was?
Right.
And so now we lose our identity because we don't know who our father is. Our fathers gives us our identity.
Yeah.
So if I don't know my identity, I don't know my father was, I walk around my pants sagging the ground, I walk around hopeless, I walk around in the hood saying I'll never reach 18 or 19 years old because my father instills in me who I am. So what do we do? What approach do you take? I can glean from you that we speak to a fatherless, hurt, sometimes overly sensitive generation because a father never was in the home.
Yeah, I am part of the 100 Black Men of America who follow the mantra that mentorship is key.
Yes.
And so one of the things that we have to do is become remote control fathers,
Right.
Taking those in who are not necessarily our biological, but that we really have a heart and a connection for. I realized, Amir, the frailty of my masculinity was how I responded to my brokenness.
Wow.
I went through my divorce. I had a Bible study just for the men of my church, to which I said to them, the devil didn't do it. Jamal Bryant did it.
Boy, that was powerful. The devil didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I took ownership of it. And in taking ownership of it, it disarmed the enemy and it equipped my men. And
wow.
So that my men's ministry grew because they were able to identify with my transparency. John Kennedy said, if you want to see a success, look for a great failure first. Wow. Because anybody who has succeeded at something had to learn how to fail. And I think that somehow or another we have this mirage in our head that to be a father means that you got to be perfect, that you're dotting all the I's, you're crossing all the T's. But sometimes your greatest model is failing in front of your children so that they can see the capacity of what it means to get back up.
So when you think of father, what comes to your mind? I saw you and Bishop, you're great at the words, you're in etymology, you and Greg, there was no Bishop Bloomer. When you think of father, what do you think of when you say father?
Yeah. And what I need to say to the larger community, your father is not necessarily the person who has your last name.
Wow.
Your father is not necessarily the person who has your matching blood type. Your father is the one who raises you, who sees something in you and cultivates and develops that. So many times the Black church has failed in honoring, I need you all to hear this, the blessing and the benefit of blended families. Is that there are so many men who, to use in your vernacular, Amir, got off the bench to get in the squad with somebody who wasn't even their team. Look, I did not give y'all these jerseys.
Right.
I did not put y'all on this bus. But since we here, I'm going to show you how to win. And I think that that's what gets us into the whole notion of spiritual fathers. And then we get the biblical warning, we have not many fathers.
Wow.
And here's what burdens me, and I need you all to hear my heart on this, is we have not many spiritual fathers. I am shaken in my boots at the absence of the voice in this hour of fathers. And you've got millennials and Gen Xers demanding to say almost, check me.
Yes.
Correct me.
Right.
But now, Amir, you go into these contemporary urban churches and through worship, they sitting in there with hats on. And no, because it's a fashion statement, because nobody has taught respectability.
Wow.
You talking about sagging pants. They ain't got no sagging pants no more. This is showing our age. That's when we was wearing baggy jeans. They wearing skinny jeans. Ain't nobody paying sagging no more. It's clinging on for dear life. But you got to ask, in spiritual fathers, who are our spiritual fathers to correct the trends of culture? That we would acknowledge in this hour, your Church of God in Christ, how many great gatekeepers have died in the last 90 days?
My God.
How do we fill that vacuum that just 45 days ago, your presiding bishop said that he's passing the baton?
Yes.
He was not just a presider. He was a national father.
Yes.
And so many of us regrettably want to be friends that we don't want to be fathered. There's a
Wow.
reason when we were kids, we sat at the kiddie table.
Right.
Because there was
Right.
something we had access to.
That's right.
We should know nothing about spades.
We should know.
We should still be playing Uno.
We get smacked when we came to the table.
Absolutely. So many of us went to the adult table too soon.
Yes.
And didn't know what it is that the discriminating taste didn't allow us the maturity to be able to say that doesn't match our palate. And so our generation mushroomed quick out of gift, where your grandfather's generation had progressive growth, but didn't have microwave growth.
Right.
But had sustainability.
Right. Right.
You got to think through my colleague, contemporary comrade, Zachary Timms.
Right.
Zoomed fast.
Right.
Burned the mortgage when nobody else was doing it. Was building up a whole campus.
Right.
And his children don't have it. It is lost out of his bloodline. It is no longer in the family. And no father is speaking to it. So it is that kind of hour. J. Delano Ellis passes. That is a significant voice because he was a father who refused to be politically correct.
Right.
He would check you in a microphone or in a fellowship hall. And so I think that we need fathers who are not bent on building a fellowship.
Right.
Fathers who are committed to relationship.
That's right.
Get to that, I think that we're able to move at a more progressive way.
Well, Dr. Bryan, I ain't gonna hold you long. We got about 9 to 10 more minutes. I want to say this, that Charlotte, I have one of my, so we have a civil rights ministry headed by John Barnett, who does a lot of civil rights. Al Sharpton mentored him. He said we had last year 10,000 Black boys suspended from Charlotte Mecklenburg School, 10,000, and no one has said anything.
Yeah.
We have in this city, our young Black men are getting gunned down every other night, and no one is saying anything. The Cunningham family, as well as my wife's family, we're from the south side of Chicago before we transitioned to Michigan. My wife's family from the west side, over 4,000 murders in Chicago, no one said anything. But if you do the statistics on that, it said over 75% of those homes, there are no fathers. And so how can we, because we know you're the great activist, how can we deal with these lawmakers? And I think they're trying to do some things to change this, but how can we deal with these lawmakers, not to just demand law and order, but to put some resources in our community to help mentor our young Black men? I mean, it's time out. We've been shouting, dancing, kumbaya, speaking in tongues.
What I'm getting ready to tell you is getting ready to give you a concussion and a nosebleed. When I was in Baltimore, something happened that messed me up. A young Jewish boy got in trouble, broke the law. I think he broke into a home where he stole a car. He was supposed to be sentenced. Amir, I was in the courtroom. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. I'm there to support one of my boys from my church.
Right.
I need you all to hear me and hear me well, because it's going to change the landscape and the discussion of men's ministry in your local church, no matter where you go. The young boy who broke in the house or broke in a car, whichever one, all of the men from the synagogue came to court, not the pastor. All the men. And they said to the judge, turn little Abraham over to us. Little Abraham is under the care of our synagogue. We pledge to you today, you will never see him again. It is Amir. And the judge turned the boy over to the synagogue.
My God.
Crying in the courtroom. And the boy's mother, who was there with me, said, Pastor Brian, what's wrong? I said, I'm embarrassed and I'm ashamed, because I got 5 times as many men as this synagogue. And I thought only me had the responsibility. I think what we have to do is go back to community involvement and engagement. That one of the standards of my ministry is not Azusa. Standard of my ministry is the Black Panther Party. And the Black Panther Party understood community involvement and engagement. Malcolm X said, if you always look for the oppressor to free your children, you will always be in bondage. And so imagine with all of the churches in Charlotte, all of the churches in Chicago, all the churches in Atlanta, we don't need to go to government. We need to pull ourselves together and really roll out a strategy. Dr. King said something that really haunts me. He said this, Amir, that crime is the bride of poverty. Crime is the bride of poverty. Wherever you see poverty, crime is close by. And so this is an economic issue.
Yes.
So here we are. I'm talking to you in December.
Yes.
And neither one of our churches, we didn't talk before this. I don't know it. I'm speaking in prematurely. Check me. Neither one of our churches is having a meeting right now about what do we do for summer employment for the kids in our church.
Right.
That's what they're doing in the Jewish community.
Right.
Before Passover, they know where they're working for the summer. So I think that we got to recalibrate how it is that we think, what it is that we project, and realize that everything we need is in the house and to begin to measure it out. We've got to show our young men there are more opportunities than being an undertaker, a barber, and a preacher. That there's so much more you can do, and COVID-19 has pulled the sheets off to show us that technology is an incubator that we've got to tap into in order to draw our bloodstream.
That's so important to that. And I think so many people don't, I always often say that we were better off segregated. Oftentimes I reference Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I was thinking about Black Wall Street and how we were in Oklahoma. And sometimes, and Malcolm X said, his coffee began weaker when he began to integrate it. And so we have to fix ourselves. We have to stop looking for others to fix us and learn to fix ourselves. And that's so important. What are you saying that this summer, our kids, our young Black boys should know where they're working. Our young Black boys should know where they're going next. And you have contributed that to so much. But Dr. Bryant, I'm not gonna hold you long, but do you believe it is an assignment of the pastor to engage in the community? Because so many, and engage with our young Black men, because so many have said, that's not my assignment.
Yeah.
So many people say,
I think that
that's not my assignment.
Yeah, I think it measures itself out in different ways.
Right.
I've said to pastors who claim that they're not called to activism, I said, you don't have to march. You don't have to get arrested. What you can do is open up your fellowship hall for the young people to meet.
Right.
If you don't want to let them in, what you can do is open up your Wi-Fi for them to use it in the parking lot.
Right.
You don't want to be a part of it. Let them hold your church bus in order to go to the rally.
That's right.
So there are ways for you to be an activist without you being Dr. King, Al Sharpton, and Jesse Jackson. That you support the movement without you ever moving. But you have a responsibility to speak truth to power.
That's so powerful. Thank you, Dr. Bryant. So yeah, you all get your copy of the book. You can get it at www.AmereMay.org. Dr. Bryant has his. He's actually in the book. I penned him because I highly respect his dad and what God has done in their lives with him and his children. And we appreciate
the viewers. Hold that book up for us, Pastor.
Yeah.
I want you all to get this book, especially as we're enrolled on the road to Christmas. Regrettably, we have the data that suggests the average African American does not read a complete book that is nonfiction after high school. But I want you to put this in the hands of your sons. I want your men's ministry to begin to read it. Oftentimes, regrettably, in the Black church, we don't talk about fathers until Father's Day. But what I want you to do, please, is I want you to get this book. New Birth, you already know my philosophy is readers are leaders. If you're a leader, tell me what you're reading. So you'll please get this book, The Influence of a Father, even if you never had one. I want you to become what you never had. is an amazing gift, amazing tool, and I think a major present for you to have. I want to say this in closing to somebody who will hear this. I know that we're 3 weeks away from Christmas, but isn't it interesting, Amir, you said that people get turned off. They think it's rough when the Father's voice challenges and chastises you.
Yes.
Amir, you're much more biblically astute than I. I give you this as a free bonus track.
No.
After Jesus said to his father, Joseph, 12 years old, they went 3 days, couldn't find him. Where you been? He grabs him by his arm. Where you been? Me and your mother been looking at you. Jesus looks in his stepfather, Joseph's face, and he says to his stepfather, don't you know I'm about my Father's business? Amir, I got to tell you this. Isn't it interesting? After Jesus talks back to his father, we never see Joseph again.
Ooh.
There's no conversation. There's no conversation. There's no interaction. There's no dialogue. Theologians argue that by the time Jesus is crucified, Joseph has died. Let's stick with that. But 3 years prior, Mary goes to the wedding by herself. And Joseph is nowhere on the scene.
Nowhere to be found.
So 2 chapters over. You remember when it is that they went to see Jesus one day and they passed a note in that said, your mother is outside.
That's right.
Joe ain't there.
Joseph wasn't there.
Absolutely. There are critical moments that you got to go through that your father will not be there. I give you another bonus track for free. Isn't it amazing? Having the best diet, the most intellectual acumen, having focus, having physique. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we have no evidence of them having a father. They have a mentor by the name of Daniel. But what is critical for those of you who are fatherless and you've been using it as a crutch is that the chapter that they're thrown in the fiery furnace is the only chapter in Daniel where Daniel is not present. Sometimes you got to go through something where God won't let your father be there and won't let your mentor be accessible so that you can find out who you are and what you're supposed to do. I said something about 4 years ago in a Father's Day sermon. I completely wrote it out, was prepared, was consecrated, prayed up. I got up to preach. I got to my second paragraph, and I said this, as I say to you all tonight. Once I said this sentence, the church broke out in a wailing and in a crying and a worship that I had not heard. No organ, no whooping. All I made was this declaration. Sometimes God didn't let your father stay in your life in order to save you. Did you hear what I just said? Sometimes he didn't let your father be in your life because he wanted to save you. Because he knew he would bring too much toxicity that would in fact corrupt the destiny of your life. So sometimes you ought to be grateful for a dad you didn't interact with because you didn't know what it is that God saved you from. The flip side of that is Tyler Perry. Just put his father in a mansion in Atlanta. A father who didn't raise him. Father who wasn't active in his life. But Tyler Perry bought his father a mansion, completely furnished it, and then gave him a staff to maintain it. A journalist asked of Tyler, why'd you do this when your dad wasn't there? Left your mother, allowed you to struggle, went through a season of sleeping in the car. Tyler Perry, without ever blinking, said, because the Bible says, honor your father so your days may be good. Amir, hear this. The Bible never says, honor an active father. Never says, honor a good father. Just says, honor your father.
Honor father.
Your days might be long in the earth. And so no matter what your situation, your circumstance, or your family tree, I want you to know that you've got to honor your father, both biological and spiritual, so that you might flourish and prosper. Go get that book, The Influence of a Father, by AmereMay, an amazing man of God who's assigned to the Emirates lives in Chicago.
Thank you. Let me just say this. The prophet has spoken. He doesn't even know. He speaks through revelatory expressions. My grandfather was a noted Kojic bishop, father of a small town in South Haven, Michigan. I got to bring you to South Haven. This is where Oprah and Aaron Magic got a homes. It's on the lake, right across Lake Michigan from Chicago. My mother got pregnant by one of the drug dealers of the city. Now, hustling is in my blood, is in my children's blood, even though I was a big time athlete. And what you just said was I almost cried because my father died. I was with my father the day of his death. I was with him all day. He was driving crazy, he was drinking and shooting up. So he died of a drunk driving accident. He changed my name just before he died. I was Amir Cunningham. He switched my name to Amir May from St. Louis, Larry May. I still love my father and honor my father. People understand that. He showed me the life. He was one of the numbers men. He ran numbers from all the way from St. Louis to Michigan, all the way to New York. He was a numbers man. My grandmother was a numbers man. So now I have my father, my grandfather who's raised us in the church. Then I have my other father who teach me the numbers game, teach me how to cut up dope, how to cook dope, and do all these kind of things. At the age, it was in the crack area when crack just came, because my father was dealing with cocaine and heroin. But soon as the crack era came, my father just had missed it because he was snatched out of here because of a drunk driving accident. What you just said was so powerful. I believe if my father would have still been here, he would have caused me, my brother, cousins, everybody to have a RICO case. Hear me real good. But God allowed him to be snatched out of here to preserve my life, save my life through my grandfather. My grandfather raised me, then my stepfather raised me, taught me all I need to be. And that's why I'm the man of God right now. So I have no pity. I had a father, he acknowledged me. But I believe the absentee of my father, of my Joseph wasn't even in the upper room. He wasn't even up, he wasn't nowhere to be found. So the question, where's Joseph? That spared my life. So what you just said tonight was so powerful. It was so prolific. And that is a sermon that I will be preaching. So thank you. I'm going to say preach black man, and I'm going to say preach big man. But we're going to preach.
That's good.
And I love you. Thank God for you. After this COVID, we got to hook up. Thank you. We're only 3.5, 4 hours away now. But be safe. Thank God for New Birth and all that you are doing. And you all need to listen. If you don't have a church on, you need to go by New Birth. They're doing some amazing things. And it's amazing. And I want to say this, you can close it. What is a life like? I know I did it on basketball. Everything I did was no, but every little thing you do, somebody got something to say. Every little thing, and you don't really do nothing. It's amazing to me how so many people have something to say, and you still saying that you are a gift. I want to tell you this personally, and you know I don't scratch my own itch, and I ain't laughing, ain't funny. You are a blessing to the community. Forget every hater, forget every blogger. What if you got too many problems? Call us. But my point is, we love you, and you do so much for our people. It's amazing what happened. I think it was Bennett College. Nobody talks about that. It's amazing for all the things that you are doing in the body of Christ. And so, man, I highly respect you. And we appreciate you. And forget these myopic mental midgets that ain't doing nothing. Let them keep blocking. Let them keep talking. We love you and got your back. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you, New Birth. Abundant Faith. See you all tomorrow. God bless you. 10540 Arthur Davis Road, Charlotte, North Carolina. Listen, we are so excited. We're delighted. We cannot hide it. Listen, we are in the middle of our vision campaign, and I want to tell you next week we're going to possess the building that we're in. So we're asking everybody that can, make sure you get this book, The Influence of a Father. Go to AmereMay.org right now, www.AmereMay.org, and get that book. And listen, if you're anywhere near Charlotte, North Carolina, come visit us at 10540 Arthur Davis Road, and we will be there. We're in a vision campaign. Make sure if you want to sow a seed, please do so. You can cash out $ Abundant Faith Worship. If you want to cash out, I'm going to put up the Abundant Faith Worship. You can do that, and we appreciate it. But I want to say this: let's support our community. I'm telling our community, let's support Dr. Jamal Bryant. He's a voice beyond the church. He is a voice for our community, and we appreciate that. He is a voice for our community, and we got his back. So join us, our 10K challenge tonight. 100 partners give $100. You can text to give 704-610-5444. Text them out there, or you can give by $ Abundant Faith Worship or the link tree. And these ways, this is my vision campaign. And just so, I'm challenging 100 people to give $100 to for the vision campaign. And make sure you get your book. Make sure you get your book. Go right now, share it, share it, share it. Get your book. We are a church, been here 4 years. If you want to help us, you want to partner, you can do that. Text 704-610-5444 or $ Abundant Faith Worship. Linktree. You go to the Linktree so you can get right on your credit card tonight. I know there's 100 Black folk that can help us. We're doing some wonderful things. Virtual school. We got a wonderful church, and we're doing some wonderful things. And make sure, if you in Atlanta, sometimes pick up the phone and sow into New Birth. Sow into New Birth. Go visit Dr. Jamal. He's doing some amazing things, and we want to support them. So God bless you all. Love you. Choice blessing of Bishop AmereMay. The hardest preaching big man you ever seen. God bless you. God bless all of my enemies and my haters. I'm praying for you all in Jesus' name. Peace.